I'm Catherine, and welcome to my podcast. I am coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, where I live with my husband Andrew and our dog Iggy. You can find me on Ravelry as Hey I'm Catherine Knits, and you can find me on Instagram at Hey I'm Catherine _ the podcast. So it has been a very, very long time since I have posted a podcast. You can tell this is not my normal setup, and I'm not going to do a full episode today. I'm just doing a little quick check-in because I have some stuff I want to share with you that I think will be done and in rotation by the time I have the time to record a full podcast. So I just wanted to catch you up. First of all, if you have been on Instagram and you are Canadian, it is Wednesday, October 18th, by the way. You will have noticed that Gord Downie died. For anyone who is not Canadian, this probably doesn't mean a whole lot to you, but Gord Downie is the lead singer of the Tragically Hip, and I'm using the present tense because the band is not continuing now that Gord is gone, so he is the lead singer of the Tragically Hip, and the Tragically Hip are essentially the poet laureates of Canada. Their music is about Canada and about Canadians, and it is very evocative of where we live and how we live and what we need to work on and mistakes that we have made. And there are very few people, especially my age, who have not been influenced in some way by the Tragically Hip. So it is a sad day for Canadians in general and Canadian music fans. Gord had a incurable, inoperable brain tumor, and last year the band went on a cross-country tour, and it was sold out in like an instant. But the CBC, which is our national broadcaster, broadcast their last show from Kingston, which is where the band was from, Kingston, Ontario, and over 11 million people tuned in. That is over a third of the entire country watched the live broadcast of the last Tragically Hip concert ever in their hometown. And it's just one of the things that is great about Canada. Like, what other broadcaster would have simulcast the last concert with no ads and no interruptions for 2 hours, just solid music? Like, there's so many great things about Canada, and the Tragically Hip and the CBC are two of my favorites. So it's a sad day. But anyways, I just wanted to check in and let you know what I was working on. So I have been organizing my stash, which is a very, very long process. And one of the things that I found were I had 3 balls of this. So this is just commercial yarn. It's Drake by Estelle Yarns, and the color is 864. It doesn't have a lot colorway name, but it is kind of, when I saw it, it reminded me very much of mallard ducks. The way that they are brown, and they have, the males have the iridescent green heads, and the females have iridescent patches that are blue and purple on their wings. So it reminded me very much of that. So you have blues and grays, and it is a thick and thin yarn. So where it is thin, the blue is iridescent, like it has this beautiful sheen, and it's iridescent. So I bought this right when I started knitting, and I didn't really know what you did with different types of yarn. So hilariously, my original plan was to put this in the yoke of a sweater, which as it's knitting up, it probably would have turned out okay, but I would have had to knit a bulky weight sweater, which is kind of not something that I'm super interested in. So as I was digging through my stash, I had 3 balls of this. So I was like, I need to do something with it. And I was originally going to do a scarf pattern, but the thick and thin nature of the yarn, as well as with the color variegations from blues through to browns and greens and back, it was really obscuring the stitch pattern. There was an actual stitch pattern in the scarf, and it was obscuring it, so I didn't want to keep doing that. So what I did is I just ripped it all out, and I just cast on 115 stitches and joined in the round, and I'm making a cowl. And that's what I'm going to do. Is it's going to be Very big and very squishy, so I can like jam it down into the neck hole of my jacket because we are getting into winter. We've had snow a couple of times. It hasn't lasted. It's kind of melted by the end of the day, but winter is coming, so we need to be prepared. So this is how it is knitting up, and I just wanted to show you guys this because it will be done and in rotation probably by the time I record my next podcast. So you can see like the nice color changes, and you can see kind of the variegation from the thick to the thin and back. So it's just kind of like a really nice randomized pattern of colors, and it's merino, 100% merino, so it's nice and squishy. I didn't even do like a ribbing or garter stitch or anything along the bottom. I just went stockinette all the way around. So it's kind of rolling up a little at the bottom, and it'll roll down a little bit at the top as well. So it'll match, and it's just kind of nice and soft and squishy and fuzzy. I just totally estimated the number of stitches I was going to cast on. I'm not following a pattern because who would need a pattern for this? Just literally join in the round and knit. That's it. So I have done one entire ball, and I'm on the second ball, and I have a third ball that I'm going to knit in. So it's about 300 grams of like super bulky yarn. So this is either bulky or super bulky. I'm knitting this on US size. What is it on the side here? It's US size 11, so these are 8mm needles, and that's just what was recommended on the ball band, and I'm having a really good luck with it. I am consciously trying to knit more loosely than I normally do because I don't want to squish down the nice fluffiness of like the thick parts of this yarn. So, I mean, that's my hair color right there. It blends in perfectly. So yeah, so it's just kind of nice the way it goes from thin and then too thick again and then too thin. So it is working out well. The people who make the yarn know what they're doing. As far as needle size goes, now these needles I've never used before. This is the first time that I'm using the Licca driftwood birch needles. I will give like an entire review probably on my next podcast because I've used them more than once, but so far so good. I don't find them overly sticky. I don't find them overly slippery either. I've always knit on stainless steel Chiagu needles with the red lace cords. So in terms of like grippiness or slipperiness, I'm not seeing too much of a difference, but I don't tend to have an issue with slippery needles because I'm such a tight knitter that my stitches are super tight anyway. They're nice and smooth, they're quiet. They don't click the way the stainless steel needles do, obviously. And I mean, they're nice and warm in my hands. The cord, I don't know that it would be completely memory free, but it's not kinked or anything like it was twisted up in the package, and it's not kinked or anything. It kind of straightened out quite nicely. The one thing that I am noticing is that the join on these needles doesn't untwist the way or as often as the Chiagu needles do for me. But I think I probably have more of a problem with that than a lot of people because I'm quite a tight knitter, so my stitches pull on the needles and twist them as I'm working around. So anyways, it's been a good experience so far. I'm enjoying it. And yeah, this is going to be a squishy, super squishy cowl. It's probably about 8 inches from top to bottom now, and it is only going to get bigger. So this will probably be 2 feet. If I can get about 8 inches from a ball in a little bit, it'll be probably about 24 inches by the time I am done. It's going to be a giant cowl, but that's okay because it's going to be winter for a million years and we need it. So anyways, that is what I'm working on right now. See if I can get one more shot of the color. And I picked up this yarn from Villacula Handmade, which is a local yarn store here in Calgary, and I haven't looked for it anywhere else, so I don't know if you can get it anywhere else. But anyways, that's where I got it, and Christine and all of her staff there are lovely, and I think this is just going to be really, really super fun. I'm hoping to get a lot of knitting in this weekend. Andrew and the dog and I are going to Jasper for the weekend, which is in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. It's about 4 hours from here. You drive into the mountains and then you drive all the way up the Icefield Parkway to Jasper, and it is gorgeous. And if you haven't done it and you live close enough, you should. If you haven't done it and you want to see like gorgeous mountains and glaciers and beautiful vistas, you should come and visit us. Come see. But don't come now because all of the hotels all the way along Highway 93 are already closed. They close for the season, usually the middle of October, and then they'll reopen sometime in the spring, usually around May long weekend, like mid to end of May, depending on how snowy and gross and crazy it is. So anyways, hopefully I will be getting lots of knitting in, so you can check out my Instagram. I will be posting everything on there. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will talk to you guys next time. See ya.